Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Talk Design. In 2018, I had an idea when I was in my fourth year of college. I had an idea of building a community for the creative people. And from 2018 till almost for 10 to 11 months, we did around 3 to 4 events where we invited designers, creative people, and even a national award winning artist, Mr. Ramachandran, to host an event and explain their design, their creative process, and then their own style of doing work. So after that, I stopped this process of conducting events during COVID, and I always wanted to restart this Let's Talk Design with the idea of creating a community for the creative people, so that we'll engage together and we'll collaborate, we'll learn, we'll get inspired from fellow designers and fellow artists, fellow architects, community members, everyone. So when I was saying this to one of the people who I met in a business event, so I was saying this idea to another person a few months back. She said that, Milan, this sounds very nice. Why don't you go ahead and start it? And today we are going to talk with her, Miss Divya Subramanyam, founder and principal designer of River Interior Design Studio. And let's talk about her design process. Let's talk about her creative journey. Let's talk about why she is doing what she is doing. Hello.
Hi, Mugilan. Thanks
Hi.
for having me.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Okay. So when I told you the idea of Let's Talk Design, what was the thought that you had in mind?
I was absolutely thrilled because it is a community for design.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for you to start, and a couple of days back, you called me and said you're doing this. I was really happy for you.
Okay. Because it was very inspiring for me when someone else is saying that, okay, this is sounding very good, so you just go ahead and start
Yeah.
it. So it
Okay.
was very happy for me as well. And then that is why when I'm starting, you are the first person to be
Thank
hosted
you.
in
I'm
the
honored. Thank you.
event. Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, so I have prepared a list of questions. Just I'll ask this. The way I prepared this question is through one mindset that I wanted to learn
Hmm.
from the people who are already in the field of design and
Okay.
who are already doing business and who are sustaining the field of design.
Okay.
So that is the mindset behind the questions.
Okay.
So the first one I wanted to ask is, what does interior design mean to you?
To me, as a designer, interior design is actually something I'm very passionate about. And as in the perspective of business, interior design is actually a value addition.
Right. When you said that interior design, it's a value addition.
Yes.
What is your take on interior design? I'm asking from the point that I believe that everyone deserves good design,
Yes.
and I also believe that design is a necessity. So now, do you believe that the interior design is a necessity or a luxury, or is interior design can be a necessity as well as a luxury? Where it is necessity, where it is a luxury?
Okay, so interior design is subjective. What I see as design may not be designed for you. And I believe that, as Steve Jobs has said, design is how it works. So if one is working for you, it is how it is. Now, for example, if I'm going to go for a table next to a window, okay, that itself is simple luxury for a lot of people, because window is something that you can see the world through. That I see, because I'm a biophilic interior designer, that is a very important concept for us. So that is very simple, but yes, it's luxury for a lot of people. And some other people can see it as, with paneling and a lot of wall murals. That is a different kind of take on design. So I think it's completely subjective, and it depends on how people see it and how they want it.
You actually, since we already spoke, you told me that you are from different educational background, right?
Yes.
And you took a course and then took education and then you changed your career path to this.
Yes.
Can you explain or can you elaborate that process of change, how it was,
Yes.
and why did you do that?
Actually, I'm a biotechnologist and I did my MBA in logistics and shipping also. So that is totally different thing. But right from my childhood, it's because of my mom. She used to arrange and rearrange furniture in the house. She used to keep it absolutely beautiful. So that was always stemmed in, that only has caused this kind of a passion. And soon after marriage, when we moved to Switzerland, when I had the free time, I immediately took up interior design. I studied there and I practiced there also. And further, I did my master's also in India.
So how did you get back, and then how was the journey of interior design? Because you can get educated, but you can't, start a business very easily.
Yes.
So how was the journey of starting a business in design?
So actually, when I started my career in interior design itself, I was a mother of one. So she was only 8 months old when I was studying. So right from my start of interior design, I've been a mother of one, and all that implications were there. So as soon as we came back to India, I freelanced as an interior designer, and then I was in the free time after taking care of my baby, I used to go around and do my projects. And after that, now the kids are all grown up. I have two kids, so they're all grown up, and then I've gone full-fledged into business now.
Okay, that's very inspiring to hear, because you always say that I'm a mother of two, I'm a mother of two.
Yes.
That's a constant thing that you always say, right? That is what inspired me to, continue the conversations we have, because every time we have, I have a slight of small bit of inspiration, and I,
Okay.
I take it.
Glad.
Yeah. Can you tell me about your first project that you handled? How
Yes.
difficult was it, or how exciting was it? What was your thought, and
Hmm.
how did it end up?
Okay, so first project I can never forget. Soon after I finished I did my diploma in interior design in Switzerland. So soon after that, I got my first project, which was my daughter's primary school.
Okay,
Sorry, preschool.
please go.
So yeah, so there they found out that I had completed, and they said, "Why don't you help us with the redecoration of the space?" It was a very small project, but then it was challenging because in Switzerland the codes are all very very strict,
Okay,
and when it comes to children, it's like it's bonkers actually. It's very very strict. So to abide by those rules and to bring out the creativity also, it was challenging. So we stuck with the zoning out of the spaces and decoration on the walls. We stuck with that,
okay,
and it came out very beautifully. In fact, it was
okay,
very colorful, and people were very happy with the different zones in the
right.
school.
Okay, okay. So since you had practiced in Switzerland and now you're practicing here in India,
Yes.
how different is it? The market and the people and the way people perceive design. Is it different, or is it is there any similarity when people perceive interior design according to you?
Yes, there's a vast difference actually. Interior design is strictly a profession over there. But here, where we see, they do not treat us as professionals.
Okay,
A lot of people ask us for free advice.
right,
It is not treated as a profession where you seek the expertise of a person. No, it's not like that.
right.
Someone gets to know that we are interior designers, they say, please come home, just give us some ideas. But the fact that we are being paid for the ideas is forgotten.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that is one of the biggest difference that I
Okay.
find.
Okay. And how do you, how do you run a business among this kind of mindset? I know there are amazing people who are willing to pay every professional, and there are also people who are, not so, you know, they are not very ready to pay.
Mm.
I know this being in the field as well.
Yes,
So free advice is one of the part of our journey.
exactly.
But how do you cope with it?
Mm.
I'm asking this question from perspective of any student or any someone who's starting journey.
Yeah.
I want them to know how do you cope up with that, and how do you travel in that kind of questions and expectations.
It's very easy now. Earlier, I was struggling. I used to
Okay.
just give off all the ideas, but
Okay.
now I have drawn my boundaries, where I have to stop, and
Okay.
I know where I can actually charge them. So I have clear boundaries set now.
Okay. Okay.
So if it's a general idea, I do give it, but if
Okay.
it's going to be a device from a strategy, then I do not give it away.
Okay. So, do you mean that no matter what education you have, sometimes you have to get beaten so that to learn?
Definitely,
Yeah.
yes. You have to be on the field, and you
Okay.
have to understand everything.
Right. 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 Amazing. So, as a textile designer, I tend to go around and look where whatever fabric that I look at, I feel, touch the texture, I feel it, and then fabrics are a part of our
Yes.
journey, education.
Yes.
So it always intrigues me, what is the texture, how would it have been woven, or what is the technique of print that is being used. So all these things come into my mind on a regular basis. And when I am interacting with my graphic design friends, they always talk about the font. Even when we are sitting in a menu, when we are sitting in a hotel to look at a menu card, they always talk about, okay, this font is nice. Instead of ordering the food, we spend a half an hour in talking about the fonts.
I see.
Yeah. So I want to ask the same thing to you as an interior designer. What do you look at, and how does, in simple words, how does an interior designer observe things?
Absolutely. I can very well gel with what you're telling me.
Okay.
Whenever we walk into a space, if it's badly designed, everything, we are mentally rearranging the furniture, actually.
Okay. Okay.
We are adding some art in the space, and everything's happening here at this level.
Okay.
And just like you said, when we go to restaurants also, I'm always looking at the finishes of the table, how it has been mounted and how
Okay.
it is supported. And even in the restaurant toilets, and the finishes and everything, the lighting, this is what we take from any space.
Correct.
So it's either we are mentally arranging and rearranging, or
Okay.
this is how it is.
Right. I believe that that's a part of a
Yes.
journey of a designer.
Yes.
And it's also because when we are passionate about things, we obviously observe that.
Yes.
And many times that has helped me a
Mm.
lot in creating new ideas and creating new thoughts in my own design process.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. So, in the journey of your job or the business you do, what's the most satisfying thing that you feel when you're designing something?
Apart from the client satisfaction, I think I believe that I'm really elated when all your sketches and your 2D comes to the real life.
Right.
That is the most defining moment for me as an interior designer.
Okay.
Suddenly, when you go to the site and you see all your sketches have come to life, I mean, that's a whole, it's a beautiful feeling, actually.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, since you said that, I want to ask you here this. You said that the the creation part of your design,
Yes.
that is from paper or from PDF to actual space,
Yes.
that gives us so much of happiness and satisfaction, right? Similarly, I have seen the same thing with us when we are putting our design on paper and then getting it on printed on textile.
Yes.
That one print on the textile is totally different from, even we can print it on paper, but it's not the same. So I have felt that. Now, how important do you think it is to work in close in parallel with the laborers and the executing people, the contractors?
That is the real challenge, actually, in our field.
Yeah.
Whatever you perceive here as a designer, no, that has to be executed well. That is the most challenging part of any interior designer, actually. So when you have the right team in place, I think that becomes easier.
Okay.
For example, we have all the drawings, we have our supervisor and everything, and the design is discussed. With the even the drawings are there in the site and everything.
Okay.
But even then, we'll have to completely map it out for them at site.
Yeah.
We have to tell the layman how it is in
Yeah.
their language.
Correct.
So that's when they understand. They don't understand drawings and everything.
Yeah.
So for them, we'll have to spell it out.
Correct. So I like the word that you said. We have to talk in the terms of labor language.
Yes.
Because this is something, when I was in college, I created a design, very creative, very. I was feeling so happy, and I'm the creative person of the world. And then I did the design in tabletop loom, where I
Okay.
created that texture in the fabric, and then I took it to a weaver, handloom weaver, to weave it. What happened was that person, he saw that and then said, "Sir, if we do this, it won't. The loom will break." He did not say the threads will break.
Okay.
He said the loom itself will break. No,
Okay.
I was so embarrassed that I took a design like that. But then that I believe that is how we learn as a designer. Even that feeling, that knowledge.
Yes.
When we come back and do our next design, it improves our own,
Yes.
our own way of executing things, and it's also important to learn their language.
I do accept that, because a lot of times, at site, those laymen know, know more about the particular material or that, so they will give us suggestions.
Yeah.
So I'm always open to that. When they have their experience, because they work day in and day out in the same material, no?
Correct.
So we are always open to suggestions from their end also.
Okay. I want to talk a little about your process as a designer.
Yes.
Can you explain in brief what the design process you follow? How do you
Okay.
start when a client approaches you? How do you start, and then what is the process that you take them through?
Mm.
What's the process that you go through the design journey?
Design. You want the design process.
And the design
So how
process.
once the requirements come in, the brief is given. Actually, my this is how my professor trained me. At least minimum 50 case studies you should do. That is
Okay.
what she was told.
Okay.
And even though I mean day to day basis we're not able to do 50 case studies, but then we do things that are alignment. So I want to tell a very important point here. So when you're going to design a residential space, we don't look into case studies of 60 other 50 residential spaces. We'll have to look at something very parallel,
Yeah. Okay.
not exactly residential. You have to look at
Right.
hospitality sectors. You can look at art. You
Yeah.
can there are different allied
Correct.
fields. So
Correct.
that's how you have to do your research.
Yeah.
So even for students, that's how you have to do it. You should not look into the same line of research,
Yeah.
any allied and parallel fields.
That's very, very deep thought that what I have said, because I always used to think I formed a definition for myself what creativity means, or where do we get creative, how do we get creative, because I when I when I started researching about creativity, how does this form, how do some people get it, and why don't some people struggle with it. So one thing that that struck my mind was creativity forms at the intersection of two different fields, but they are almost on the same line.
Correct. Very good. Yeah.
So that realization,
Yes.
gave me a totally different perspective.
Yes.
And surprisingly, that is the same thing. Now
Yes.
you are telling. So
Yes.
creativity is not when it won't form, like just like you said, it can't be formed in the same sector.
Correct. Because we might get inspirations because a lot of people travel. They get inspired from their travel,
Yeah.
from the travel places. But I do not have the luxury of traveling to a lot of places. But then
Okay.
from where I am, I do see a lot of art. I do see a lot of, even as far as simple, as you said, textiles, a lot of things give us inspiration around us.
Yeah.
So we take cues from that and we try to put that in our design
Right.
process.
When a client approaches you with a blank idea, doesn't have any idea, I believe that it is easy for you to pitch in ideas. But if a client approaches you with a lot of ideas, and
Yes.
already they have so many ideas in their head,
Yes.
how do you identify what's right for you, what's right for them as well?
Okay, I've had both clients.
Okay.
One who doesn't have any idea about interior design or what they want in this space, and I've had people with too many ideas also. So
Okay.
I'll tell you clearly how I worked with them.
Yeah.
So one who doesn't have any idea, it's easier to show images or references how it could come,
Okay.
and but it is not easy to convince anybody, and we do not try to convince.
Yeah.
How it stems is actual based on their actual lifestyle and their way of living. So
Okay.
from that only design stems
Right.
actually.
Right.
So it's easier to explain to them better that this design will suit their lifestyle.
Right.
So that's how we deal with those clients.
Okay.
And the clients with too many ideas, of course, they come with a lot of Pinterest boards. They make
Yeah.
literal boards
Correct.
and they say, see, this is exactly how we want it. So the
Okay.
design is already done.
Done. Right.
Yes. And the thing is, we as designers, we are able to see clearly what is feasible and what is not feasible. So a lot of Pinterest images are mostly 3D renders.
Okay.
So they do not have the what to say, they cannot find the difference between that. So
Right.
we will tell them that this is feasible for for a real life, and whether those things can suit their lifestyle.
Okay.
That's how we
So
explain it to
you
them.
talk, from what I understood, you talk a lot about how this design will impact their lifestyle.
Yes, definitely.
Right. So how does design impact lifestyle actually, according to you?
Oh, that's a great question actually. So the
Okay.
design actually, so for example, you create a setup for where I'm sitting, and there are no chairs here, so you don't have a conversation space.
Yeah.
Okay. At the same time, when I have a sofa and I have two poofs on both sides, you have people sitting and having a conversation.
Right.
Even in public places, you will see that
Right.
actually.
Right.
So this is how you build a design. So there should be intention behind the design actually.
Right.
So if you want, when design becomes intentional, then the results are easier
Right.
to achieve.
Okay. So design can build a community, design can break a community. Design is more like a, you know, uh, it tells people what to do, how to do, and if that gels with their lifestyle and it gels with their way of living, then I
Yes.
think that's what the client likes.
Yes.
Okay.
You're most comfortable in. Yes.
Yeah, amazing. I want to talk about the business aspect of design,
Yes.
because being a designer is different, being a business person is different,
Yes.
being a business person in design field is different.
True that.
Yeah. So the